I never thought that I would actually, like, make this video, but after this, you know, like, because I've had, like, not several, I've had a few chronic pain issues over the years, and it happened again recently, and that was when I decided I wanted to be more vocal about this. So, this is the kind of video that could either get 20 views or 1,000 views. So, just as a bit of a background, I live in the UK, and I'm currently 22, and I've had chronic wrist pain, I've had eye pain, that was pretty bad, and then briefly neck and shoulder pain, and then, as of very recent, throat, and then once again, like, neck and shoulder pain, but mostly 99% the throat. So I'm just gonna go through, like, my whole story, I suppose, and how I overcame these obstacles, and how you could too, maybe, if you have some, you know, some physical thing going on. So for background footage, I'm gonna use one of my runs. I am a speedrunner. I have been since, well, technically since, like, 2012 or something, but more so, like, 2015, 2016. So yeah, just gonna put my 100% run this game in the background. And I have, like, a written out timeline so I don't forget stuff. I probably still forgot some things. But, yeah. Just gonna go over the timeline of how it all happened and how I'm all better now in these regards. And just, like, maybe the common questions that people could have, or just, you know, it's more so about, like, my journey with it. I swear a lot, but I guess I'll try and swear less, because you know, when it comes to people, like, you know, with TMS, they generally take a pretty calm approach. Like, they're pretty calm people. But, like, and from what I can tell, they generally tend to, like, not swear a lot. This is a bit fast, actually. I put on 1.5 times speed. Okay. Alright, so the story starts in 2018, right? So, 2018, I was getting into my second year, like, I was in my first and then transitioned to my second year of, you know, further education. I get, like, A-levels. It's, like, the not mandatory school, but I was just furthering my education. And I was quite stressed about school, like, because in 28, like, I took 3 subjects, and I miserably failed 2 of them, because I had to put all of my attention into the one, because it was extremely work-heavy. I joined it 6 weeks late, and I was just very, like, you know, like, and I only barely passed that class as well, so in the second year, I really tried to get on top of that, and, like, got ahead in the coursework and stuff. Another thing that happened in 2018 is that I had a friend, like, unexpectedly pass away, and that got to me. Like, I always, like, repressed emotions and stuff. Like, when I was very young, I'd cry, like, all the time, every single day, almost. And one time, the head teacher, I guess he had enough, because he just straight up said, like, why do you cry all the time? And then I was like, I guess I'll stop crying then. And then I, like, almost never cried for, like, 6 years or something. Not 6, like, 5 years. So yeah, that's not really... didn't help matters, essentially. And also, I was speedrunning, and I wasn't running this game, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I was running a game with the same engine, Battle for Bikini Bottom. And the game was, I don't know, like, I like speedrunning, but, like, I was at the skill level where it was no longer, like, fun, and it was more about, like, the satisfaction of getting good times. And also, like, I like playing the game, but I preferred playing this game more, and I couldn't come back to it because I already, like, killed any percent, so I was just, like, I was playing this game, the other game, in the meantime while I was waiting for this game to have more time saves and stuff like that. And so that I would actually, like, because I was streaming my attempts on Twitch, then I'd actually, because, like, if you, like, went from speedrunning a game, like, and you're known for it, then if you go to speedrun anything else, you'll drop viewers. Obviously, there's a lot of stress with that. But there was, like, I played the second best thing I could, you know, same engine. It was a more popular game, even, but yeah, like, it was just the thing that would tank my stats the least, and it still tanked my stats. Also, in 2018, like, I was taking, like, a computer class, I guess. Not 2018, like, 16, 17, and, yeah. And, like, one of the things that they, like, drill into your head is, like, injuries from, like, being at the computer for too long. So, like, because, like, it was always like, oh, what's the disadvantage of, like, gaming? And it was always repetitive strain injury and carpal tunnel and stuff like that. So, again, it's just, like, cementing these ideas into my head. Furthermore, my dad has carpal tunnel, arthritis, all sorts. So, with all that in mind, September 2018 rolls around, we're back in school, and I go to my computer class, and there's this girl I know who, you know, she games a lot, like, she's chronically online. She was wearing, like, a hand brace. I don't remember if it was on one of her hands or both of her hands, but yeah, she was wearing at least one hand brace. Like, you know, like one of those support things to, like, more, like, strain your hand out, I guess. And fix, like, you know, the posture, I guess. Not posture, that's for, like, your back. Well, yeah. Anyway. I asked her what was up with that, and she was like, oh, I got tendonitis from gaming too much. And I was like, tendonitis? I've never even heard of tendonitis. Keep that in mind. So, and I was like, I sure hope that doesn't happen to me, because I game a lot. Then, in October, I started feeling, like, it wasn't that bad, but, like, sharp pain in my wrist in my right wrist every now and then. So I was quickly panicking, and I bought, like, a mouse pad thing to, like, ease my wrist on the mouse pad. And it, quote, fixed it. And I was like, alright, I'll keep using it, you know, all is good. And I remember I had this conversation with my mum in, like, November, and I genuinely said, you know, because around the time as well, like, it was just becoming more and more, because speedrunning was getting more popular, you just hear more and more cases of these speedrunners getting hand issues, and so it cemented the idea in my head that I would get hand issues. I even had a conversation with my mum, and I just straight up said to her, I know I'm going to have permanent hand pain one day. I know for a fact that it's going to happen at some point in my life. But I don't care, is what I said. Right? That was in, like, November. And then December rolls around, like, I'm trying to get a certain time in BFB. I'm trying to get, like, a 58 in, it was the most popular category at the time, and I had a 59-minute run. I was 7th. I wasn't going for world record or anything, but I wanted, like, top 5, and I was 7th on the boards, on the leaderboards, and it was just, yeah, the game was stressing me out. Like, I had a lot of close calls. I felt, like, very overdue to beat my time. I remember I was on the grind for, like, 3 months. And, yeah, you know, I wanted a 58 before the end of the year. It didn't happen. That was quite stressful, but, you know, I took, you know, because I was streaming 5 times a week for 3 hours, and in practice would take, like, 50 to 60 minutes, so I was playing the game for, like, hold on, can I math right now? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I can't believe I have to count that in my head. Plus, like, yeah, so it'd be, like, 18 hours a week or something. That plus school, plus getting, like, not good sleep, because I was, like, most of my friends were American, so I would, like, stay up quite late, even on school days, so, like, I would pretty consistently get, like, 5, 6 hours of sleep. On weekends, I'd sometimes get more, but then I'd fall asleep at, like, 6 a.m., so it was just, like, you know. So all that stress, and also, like, I wanted to play, like, I quit a different game that I was speedrunning because I wanted to focus on BFB, which, like, I was a bit sad about. Yeah, so January, so I took New Year's Eve and day off. And then I had, like, goals. I made, like, a pay spin of, like, goals for 2019. So I feel like that also, like, expectations of myself, you know? Well, the point I'm getting to with all this, obviously, like, obviously you'd figure from the title, but it all comes from, like, you know, the repressed emotions and stuff like that that manifests into physical pain. Yeah, I mean, don't want to get too in deep, but as a child, I was in school bullied, like, almost all the time for, although I was pretty big, but, like, less my weight and pretty much, like, my hair color. And also because I'd never fight back. And I was in, like, a class I know I didn't belong in it, and none of my friends were in it, and I was just, like, depressed all the time being in school. And the teachers would never do anything about it, and, yeah, just despise school a lot. Like, yeah. It was just, like, the source of, like, pretty much all of my misery, other than, like, a few friends that I had to talk to. So January 2nd rolls around, and I'm practicing, right? And out of nowhere, it's like, bam. Like, wrist pain in both of my wrists at the same time, roughly an equal amount of pain. And I was like, whoa, hold on a minute, what is up with this? And then within, like, 5 minutes, it just got worse. And it was pretty nasty. Well, on the pain scale, it's probably like a 6 to 7 out of 10, but it was, like, constant. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I was like, oh god, I don't know what to do. So I thought that maybe after waiting a couple days it would just go away. I was wrong. I quickly bought, like, hand braces, so keep that in mind as well, like, the monetary aspect of all this. And I didn't stream for a week. And then I streamed once, and at that point I had already started doing hand stretches, taking painkillers, and using the hand braces, like, quite frequently. Luckily, at the time, I didn't have any coursework to do, because I was already ahead in the coursework, but that was, like, something I might, like, I need to get my hand pain fixed before school, like, you know, before it becomes a problem for school. Like, so, again, setting expectations. And, yeah, so I streamed again, and instead of streaming for 3 hours, I streamed for 2. And every single input on the controller hurt. Every input. Like, you could really feel just, like, these little sharp pains every single input on the controller. And, dude, the first attempt of the day, I almost beat my time. In the second to last level, so, if I didn't play for a week and I was in constant pain, like, that's the thing that really got to me. Like, it took until 2023 until I got my gold time, by the way, that 58. Like, that was something that really bothered me as well. Like, I was going to get that time that week, and I just didn't because of this hand thing, and that really got to me, too. So yeah, then I was like, oh, I need to rest it more. And at the time, I was like, oh, I'll just take, like, 2 weeks or whatever, you know? So, yeah, really buying into the fear and everything. So, now we get into, like, a little later into 2019. This is when my notes start getting a little more hazy, but hopefully it's correct order. So yeah, again, I'm just doing hand exercises, right, you know, taking painkillers, etc., that you can imagine. And I stopped streaming entirely. I bought ergonomic devices. So I bought, like, an ergonomic keyboard and an ergonomic mouse. And I don't use that mouse because it has a bit of delay and doesn't feel that good, but, like, It was like a 15-pound mouse, and like the batteries in it, they've been in there for years and they still work, and like it's actually relatively like I was actually quite surprised by the quality of the mouse. But yeah, the quality of the keyboard, like the keyboard was very mushy, but yeah, more ergonomical. And I started like really thinking about like my posture at my desk and everything, you know. Eventually I did go to the doctor. Felt like it was kind of rushing me. But you know what he literally said? He straight up said, like, oh, I don't really know much about, like, pain around, like, you know, like, with hands, like, hand pain. So I'm just gonna prescribe you some paracetamols, some, like, mild painkillers. Like a month's worth. And I'm just sitting there like, are you for real, man? And in total, I saw, like, I don't know, like 5-6 doctors, you know, but none of them are really notable, except for the last one, which I'll get to later, and, like, the third one, who felt my wrist for, like, 5 seconds and was like, yep, this is tendonitis. I can feel it. It's tendonitis. So, I went from never hearing about tendonitis in my life to, like, only a few months later, well, yeah, like 3 months later or something, apparently 4 months later having tendonitis. And being like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen to me, and I know I'll get hand pain one day, and, you know, all that stuff, right? And obviously I had a lot of regret at that point, like, how dare I play all those games? I should have rested my hands and all that stuff, you know? It's just like, ugh. I kept trying to, like, find excuses for, like, what could have caused it. Again, the lack of sleep, which meant I was resting my hands less. Like, that's in hindsight, that's a very stupid mentality, but, like, that... You know, I'm always on my phone whenever I'm not on my PC, and, like, I'm always writing in school and typing on the keyboard at home and in school. You know, just trying to blame it on anything. But I still had, like, some faith that my hands would just heal eventually, you know? And, yeah, the pain, wasn't getting better. If anything, it kind of got worse as I started losing more and more hope, because I'm pretty sure that third doctor, I swear she said something about, like, if you have it for more than, like, 2 or 3 months or something, it's, like, permanent. I swear I don't think I'm Mandelaing myself, I'm pretty sure she said that. And obviously approaching that deadline, I was like, oh my god, I have it permanently, oh no. And obviously it slowed down my productivity in school. I went from being pretty ahead in my coursework to actually, like, beginning to kind of fall behind a little bit. And obviously, like, I'd complain about it, and people would be like, well, you shouldn't have worn out your hands in the first place. Another really stressful thing, I had a second thing of coursework in a different subject. Like, the USB device that my coursework was on, like, literally smoke came out of it, and it just fried itself. Which I've never seen before. And people are blaming it on me because, like, oh, you should have backed up your work, It's like, ugh. I had to, like, redo a lot of coursework and go through the pain. I was like, and I had the mentality, like, this was going to hurt my hands more, and of course it did, because I thought it was going to. The pain was constant, by the way, and I just could not really stop thinking about it. The only times where I could get a very temporary relief was sleeping. I actually, like, partially fixed my sleep schedule a little bit, not because of, like, mental health, like, but because it was like, oh, if I sleep for longer, then not only is it better for my hands, because I'm using my hands less, but also, like, then I'm sleeping, and if I'm sleeping, I'm not feeling pain, and that's better than feeling pain, which is a really miserable way to live, but that's genuinely how I felt. That was the one way I could get relief, and the other way was by, like, sometimes something would be, like, funny, and I could just forget about my troubles for literally 2 seconds, but it would almost make the pain, like, hit harder. I would be expecting the pain to, like, come back hard after I was done laughing. So, and I don't laugh a lot anyway, so even then, when I do laugh, it's for, like, a second or two, like, audibly. And then, like, it would just come back in a wave. It almost made laughing not worth it. It would just come back immediately. And this really, like, this pain really got to me. Like, I couldn't do the thing that I loved. Streaming, there was no point anymore. And just playing games in general. It was, like, I just couldn't do it. Like, I remember one time, I booted up Minecraft, and I moved around for literally 5 minutes, and I stopped because it hurt too much. And it's just, like... It's just absurd. I don't think I said what age I was. I might have. I was 17 and a half when I got my hand, when I was having these issues. 17 and a half. So it kind of felt like my life was over. You know, doing my favorite thing. It was like, just be miserable the rest of my life. But yeah, I couldn't play games with people. Like, I remember I was learning to speedrun Super Mario 3D Land with some friends. So we had a group chat for that, and that was like the only group chat where I talked to them. After I couldn't play anymore, I just stopped talking to them because I just got depressed and miserable. And then I kept my main friends around, but I would, like, I feel kind of bad for them because I would just complain all the time about how my life was miserable and all that stuff. And I felt I was really miserable because, like, they would, like, go in, like, different group chats or different, like, servers and play games with people. And I knew that I could just... So I felt like a burden. I felt like a burden to my friends. So I just could not play anything. At best, I could be a spectator, but that would almost make me depressed in its own right. Yeah, and I felt worthless, essentially. And, so I could relate more to, like, the friend I talked about who said she had tendinitis. I don't know exactly when this was, but one time I was down at her house and we were talking about, like, the hand stuff, and she said something. Like, it's not really a fault, but it made things worse. She said, like, her mentality is that it'll never heal because it makes her feel better to not have this false hope. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. I'll do that too. Do not do that. Do not do that. It made it worse. Yeah. And again, I was still trying to, like... Hold on, I'm looking at the list. Yeah, I got, like, physiotherapy as well, like, just trying to get, like, gel on my hands and just, like, these, you know. And I was still taking... if anything, I feel like I upped my dosage of painkillers and stuff, and it wasn't doing anything, but I had the placebo that it was. And I was still doing the stretching and everything, and, like, icing my hand, you know, like an ice pack, or heating them up. I would do both. It depended how I felt. And now, this is, like, going back further, but it actually, like, this is, like, the beginning of when I should have realized that this was, like, in my head. Like, I never like bringing it up, because it still, like, makes me feel kind of, like, uncomfortable, but since, like, 2016, like, my heart rate felt, like, very fast all the time, and I would always notice it, and that made me miserable before even the hand pain. I would think about it all the time. It would never escape my mind. It was always on my mind. Trying to fall asleep was very hard because it would just... I could just feel how, like, crushing it was. How fast it was. And again, it was, like, the laughing thing. Like, I'd laugh, and then it was just, like... I'm noticing my heart rate. And it made me really uncomfortable, and I'd be, like, fidgeting a lot because of it, and it just made me, like, you know... and I really do mean, it really, I promise you, it really was, like, always. It would really, as long as I was awake, it was on my mind. And it was really miserable. And I eventually saw a doctor about it in, like, mid-2029. Why did I say 2029? 2019. I'm not that old. It's not 2029 yet. I wonder what life will be like in 2029. Anyway, so 2019, mid-2019, I'm just like, my heart rate feels really fast. Like, and he felt it, and he was like, it's normal. And I'm like, what? It can't be normal. Like, I can feel it. And he's like, no, I believe you that like, you can feel it, but it's because you're paying attention to it. It's on your mind, because you're forcing it to be on your mind. And you just gotta, like, distract yourself and ignore it. And well, I'll get to that later when it comes to, like, the physical pain. But yeah, like, that was, like, while it wasn't the exact words of advice that would have helped me with that specific problem as efficiently as possible, it actually helped a lot, because in, like, a few days, like, dude, I remember, like, after that appointment as well, we went to, like, a cafe, and I had to, like, get out of my seat, and just, like, because I was so fidgety, and, like, yeah, but eventually, I was able to distract myself enough to where I finally realized, oh, I haven't thought about my heart rate in, like, 30 minutes, and that's, like, never happened. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, like, the heart thing happened after, like, I also don't want to go into detail about it, but something happened in 2016, and from there, like, I lost so much. I went from overweight to underweight, and yeah, just from pretty, like, then it went away after I had, like, gone over something, and then it came back eventually because of, like, other stuff. But yeah, that was constantly on my mind. But when I finally realized that, like, that aspect was over, and I somehow didn't connect the dots, so, like, maybe this could be the case with my hands, too. While I didn't connect the dots, I still was, like, not, like, I still got rid of the hand pain, the heart thing. I barely cared, because the hand thing was still, like, so awful to me. It improved my happiness a bit, but not much. If anything, it allowed me to hyper-focus on the hands, if anything. And I added another thing to the collection of just, like, reinforcing to myself. Is that the right word? I think it is. That it's a physical issue. I bought, like pretty light. I've always had, like, no muscle. But I bought, like, weights to, like, try and build muscle, because I was like, like, there aren't that many, like, muscular speedrunners, but the ones that do exist, none of them have ever said anything about hand pain, so there's got to be a connection. Like, all the muscle, like, shields them from hand pain or something. When in reality, like, a lot of people who go to the gym are, like, really mentally happy with, like, their body and stuff, so it's like, if anything, it'd be, like, a mental connection, if anything, but I didn't see it like that. So I was, you know, so I bought some weights, and I was just using them every now and then. Alright, so now we're getting into the CBD era, a little later into the year. So CBD oil, it's, like, cannabis oil thing, and it's supposed to, like, calm you down and stuff. My parents were like, this would be good for pain. Tastes disgusting, but just a couple drops a day or whatever. In, like, 3 days, my hand pain got way better. Way better. Like, the pain went from, like, a 7 out of 10 to, like, a 3. Or like, a 4, maybe. And it was still constant, but I finally was able to play video games again. I started playing games. I was playing, like, a Minecraft survival world after not being able to play it for ages. And I was playing it for, like, 4 hours at a time with the pain not increasing. And I think the reason why is because I just had the idea, like, if you know, authority figure or, like, expert, like a doctor, for example, or authority figure, like my parents, told me something, then I believe in it. And I was told that this would make my hands a lot better and it'd numb the pain. Because my dad said that he would use it for his pain and it would work. And, yeah. Pretty sure that was a mental connection, but yeah, I mean, I felt, like, actual happiness for the first time in the year, practically, and, I felt so much better. However, you know a stupid mentality I had, right? I had the mentality that it would stop working, because you know when, like, you take medication and then you get, like, used to it and then you gotta, like, up the dosage and stuff like that? I had the mentality that it would stop working eventually. And how soon was eventually? Like 4 days. Yep, all the pain was back. And I felt absolutely... I was still taking it, but it wasn't doing anything this time. But I was still, like, hopeful that it would do something. You know? And now this is where the fun thing comes in. The eye pain. So, while I was miserable not being able to play games, and the pain was incredibly distracting, I was still able to, like, watch stuff just fine, obviously. Like, I got into watching, like, a lot of anime and stuff. And I would just, like, you know, just like, watch some, like, old YouTuber content for, like, nostalgia purposes, you know, like Captain Sparkle's Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff like that. I've been doing that recently, like, actually, like, as of a few days ago with Venom. And I was thinking of doing it again with Captain Sparkle's, because it's been a few years. But yeah, like, that, so... my eyes was sometimes getting a bit of strain, and it was like, oh, it makes sense, because again, in computer class, it's like, oh, a disadvantage of being at the computer all day. Oh, your eyes blink less when looking at monitors, so, like, obviously, it'd be painful or whatever, and it, like, yeah. So that was, like, I started off, I don't know why I did this, but I started, like, setting my monitor settings to black and white, because I was like, oh, well, it's the colors on the monitor. If I make it black and white, it'll hurt my eyes less. And it worked temporarily, right? And then, of course, it get worse, so I turn it on more often. And then I started using, like, the blue light filter, like, you know, when it makes your screen look yellow. I started using that periodically, then, like, a lot more often, and then cranking it up. I was putting it on max eventually because my eye pain got so bad, and on my phone as well. I had it high up, and it was like dark orange and ugly, and that's how I was watching stuff, right? And it got so bad. It got so bad that it was almost worse than the hand pain. Like, I felt like when I was out. I mean, granted, okay, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be on your phone, like, all the time when you're outside, but, like, I stopped looking at my phone outside as much, specifically to avoid, like, to make as little, that's a problem, right? You reinforce these, like, physical issues if you're, like, of doing something or not doing something because of the pain. I was not looking at my phone, not because I thought it was good for me, like, mentally, but because I thought it was good for me physically. That's the issue, right? So, it was just not, like... Anyway, like, I obviously... It got so bad to the point where... I remember this very well. I was still listening to, like, old, like, Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff. I was still doing that. I was playing a video, like a Let's Play, on my phone, right? Get your money moving. And I had YouTube Premium, so I could, like, play with, like, the phone, like, on sleep mode, I guess. So I didn't have to look at it. Well, even then, I guess it would be to conserve battery or whatever. And I just straight up, like, was staring at the ceiling, hands in a lot of pain. And I was just miserable. I was literally staring at the ceiling. And I would be talking to my friends on Discord, and my monitor was turned off. I was staring at a blank monitor, or, like, the wall behind me. I'm surprised I didn't think, oh, thank God I can talk to people and then, like, didn't get throat pain. Like, could you imagine? Like, I'm surprised it didn't manifest into throat pain, like, looking back at it. But I never thought about it. But yeah, it turned into, like, oh, I have hand pain, but at least I can still look at stuff, and then that, you manifested into eye pain, so I'm just surprised it didn't happen with the throat. I forgot to mention this in my notes, but I just remember, I think this was just before the eye pain. Like, I went on vacation, and I was just like, yeah, the hand pain just made it hard to enjoy the vacation. It's been hard to enjoy the vacations ever since. Like, I've been on 3 vacations since 2019, and it's been hard to enjoy them all. 2019, hand pain. 2022, just miserable in general. And 2023, dog passed away, like, literally on the first day of vacation. So yeah, not been too good on the... Oh, and 2017, fast heart, and just a lot of I was having an argument with someone at the time, and it was, yeah. And then 2016... I think 2016 was fine, actually, so yeah, yeah. I haven't had a vacation where, like, nothing went wrong since, like, 2016. Anyway, I'm getting a bit sidetracked. In 2018... No, 19, this is before the eye pain. I decided I was going to speedrun Super Mario 64 120 star. Like, after, I think it was just before vacation, actually. So I was slowly practicing it, but obviously it was quite painful, so I didn't practice much. And obviously I wasn't good at the game or anything. I basically just practiced, like, the 100 coin stars, and I had some experience with 70 star in the past. And I practiced a couple other stars because I knew I need it. And yeah, I did a surprise birthday stream. And it was fun. And that's the thing. I was having so much fun that I was playing this game. My run was, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was just under 3 hours, I think. And you know what the funny thing is? I was so distracted by actually just having a good time. My hands did not start feeling fatigue until, like, 2.5 hours in. Out of my nearly 3-hour-long speedrun. Because, again, I had the distraction. I wasn't thinking about it. Oh, and this is another thing. Well, it's the case back then, and it's the case now, too. But, like, I was always obsessed with, like, going, you know, I have to go to the bathroom, like, just before I stream, so I don't need to go to the bathroom during stream, so it doesn't, like, viewers don't leave. Like, I will get to the throat pain stuff I've been having recently, but, like, I've streamed 3 times since I realized it was TMS, and literally, like, I haven't even thought about going to the bathroom since. Whereas just before the throat stuff, like, I was going to the bathroom, like, at least once a stream. And now I haven't even thought about it. I haven't even felt the need to go whatsoever. So also something really stressful happened in, like, September 2023. Or August, I think. And I kept going to the bathroom, like, constantly from that. So, again, it can just manifest, even if it's not pain. Anyway. Yeah, I was still occasionally doing these, like, random streams, but, like, in 2019, but they were very rare, and obviously I would, like, rest my hands the day before, I'd rest my hands the day after, like, I would really, you know. I think that was a little before it was, like, roughly around the time of the eye pain, actually. But yeah, basically, like, yeah, just misery all around. Then I went to get my eyes tested, and my eyesight was good, like, pretty good, didn't need glasses. And she was just like, oh, well, have you heard of the 20-20-20 rule? And here's the 20-20-20 rule, right, if you never heard of it. Every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away from like, a monitor, a TV, etc. You look 20 feet away, so basically the corner of your room or something, for 20 seconds to reset your eyes. And again, a professional told me it, so it did actually, like, help tremendously. So it would just be mild eye pain. Like, still relatively consistently, but still, like, you know, manageable. At that point, the hand pain was just much worse. And yeah, I just reset my eyes, and it would just... Yeah, I just felt better, but, you know. Just felt better from that.
If Galaxy chocolate tastes good to you, wouldn't it be great if it did?
Let's see.
By 2030, we commit to help.
Oh yeah, so this was the point where I tried to start speedrunning Pokemon Stadium. I tried to come back to streaming by streaming Pokemon Stadium. That game's inputs are pretty few and far between. It's an extremely, like, non-intensive game in terms of, like, inputs. Just, like, pretty, you know, because, like, the game is just so slow-paced. So I thought that'd be a good thing to get back into. I think that was around the time that I was doing this 2020. And because I could look at the way from the screen for so long, I could do the 20-20-20 thing sometimes. Or even at least for, like, 10 seconds. You know, I figured it'd help. I did it for 3 streams, and I got, like, it's one of the most, like, luck-heavy, like, speedrun games that people, like, actually legitimately play. It's insane. Dude, the world record's been the world record for so long, and his first split was atrocious. I was 2.5 minutes ahead because it got such bad luck. I was 2.5 minutes ahead of the world record one time. But yeah, like, the luck after that was just so insane that, like, nobody's beaten it to this day. And that record was set back in, like, I don't even know, like, 16 or something. But yeah, 3 streams in, and I was just not enjoying the game, and my viewer average was, like, 2 or 3. And you count as 1 viewer, so I basically had a viewer average of 1 or 2. And I would go, like, over an hour, like, kind of often without, like, a single chat message, and I was just not enjoying it. And then it manifested into more hand pain, and I got really, really miserable about it. I even remember I said in the news channel on my Discord server, I said, I'm thinking of deleting my server, like... Oh, that was the other thing as well. I had a community built up. Not, you know, it was like 60 people in the server, but, like, I had, like, subscribers, you know, I had, like... So I was making, like, some money. But, it, you know, it was more about, like, the support from people and being able to talk to people and having a community built up and wanting to continue to build it. I just, like, I thought it was over. Like, I thought, you know, there's no point. I would, like, hardly talk on my server because I was depressed, and even then I would just complain all the time. I was trying to, like, not even read my server notifications that much because of the fucking eye pain. Oh, I swore. Sorry about that. Because of the eye pain, and, yeah, I just thought I'd never come back, and if I'm never coming back, what's the point of having this community? And just every now and then, every, like, month or something, like, a member would leave, or of this in the server, and I really, like, I was able to watch people speedrun this game. 2019 was a little bit of a golden age, because, like, quite a few people just joined and stuck around playing the game. It was pretty nice. But I just couldn't participate, and it made me really sad. Yeah, so... Just at this point in time, yeah, just really, really miserable, and again, the hand pain was getting worse. Even if the eye pain was better and the heart thing was, like, not really an issue anymore. And obviously, like, that was 2019 was my final year of school as well. Like, it was really stressful. It got to, like, towards the end of the school year, I almost was behind on my coursework. Like, I just barely scraped the deadline. And there was a big, fat exam as well. And I had, like, an exam clash. If 2 exams are happening at the same time, because, like, the entire country takes the exam at the same time, like, I had to, like, go into, like, isolation, so I wasn't even taking my exams. Those were my 2 longest exams. And they were arguably my most important ones, too, and I literally had to take them, like, back to back, with no one around me. So it was, like, it's not even like, oh, we got this. The only good thing that came out of it was that, because of the hand pain, I was able to use a laptop instead of writing down, and I write slow, and I type fast. I typo a lot, though, still, but still, like, that was pretty good. So that was, like, one good thing that came out of it. But yeah, I'm trying to look at the list. Alright, so now we're in, like, late 2019, by the look of it. So in late 2019, I saw my final doctor about this situation, and she was like, you know, your hand pain doesn't have to be permanent, and I was like, whoa, really? And she gave me, it was by far the most useful advice that any of them gave me. It was still incorrect, but it was incorrect in a way that helped me a lot, and I still am quite thankful for that, at least. So she said, all I gotta do is build it up, so my hands get used to it. And that part makes sense. So she gave an example, like, play games for 30 minutes every single day for a week, and then next week build it up to 35, and then 40, and then 45. And I followed it. And again, it was, in hindsight, it was really obvious that, like, I would do 30, and if I accidentally went, like, 35, my hands would pay the price. Like, really? 5 extra minutes? Like, I had arbitrarily decided that, like, eventually, obviously, I eventually built it up to, like, an hour 10 or something. And, it got to the point of, like, again, an hour 10 of playing games felt the same on my hands as, like, 5 minutes. But as soon as I went an hour 15, like, nope, that was too much. And I would, like, deduct time from the next day to compensate, and it was just really stupid. And that was another thing that, like, helped solidify, like, just constantly thinking about my hands. I'd put a timer on so I could time how long I was playing games for, so that I knew if I went over. And, you know, like, that's just sad, dude. But she still helped me, like, because, again, I decided that if I take this advice, it won't hurt my hands any extra to play games for longer week by week. Like, it still helped. So I got back into speedrunning, like, shorter categories and just playing, you know, Mario Kart Wii and a bit of Minecraft, you know, just some little things, you know, it's pretty nice. Oh, yeah, by the way, I forgot to say, I was also a massive rager in 2018. Like, I was, like, and in 2017, and, you know, punch my desk, and I've gone through a lot of keyboards, and I'd grip the controller really hard and, like, practically bend it a little bit. And, like, I didn't shout much, but a little bit. But it was mostly, like, yeah. I was not, like, yeah, I was a rager, and, I don't know why UK houses are so small, but if, like, I couldn't shout because then my parents would hear if I talked 1 decibel too loud. So, like, it had to be, like, physical, and, yeah. That was just my way of dealing with it, which is absolutely, like... Because the problem is, like, if you keep, like, doing that as a coping method, like... If you stop, like, not literally cold turkey, but, like, if you just, like, have a better mentality, like, it is literally just better for your mental and physical state in the first place. Like, it really is. Because then, you, like, if you train your tolerance, you'll just get less angry when bad things happen in general. And it's because speedrunning just is naturally stressful. It can feel like the game despises you and you just don't get anywhere for hours and hours and hours, you know? It is actually just quite very... And you'll hear most speedrunners express themselves by just saying, like, F off and, like, that's BS and, like, you know, all that stuff. And I do that all the time. Just quickly getting it off your chest and composing yourself, but, like, even for speedrunning as well, like, you'll just play better as well if your mental's better, but it's so hard to, like, have a good mental when you're speedrunning. But yeah, like, again, that's just another thing, just, like, if I train myself better to just not have those, like, tangents, then maybe, I don't think I would have prevented the pain, but maybe I could have delayed it or, like, made it not as bad, because, again, it wouldn't have translated to, like, yeah, because then I would have been in a better mental state in the first place. Anyway, yeah, so the 5-minute build-up thing is what I was doing. Then I was just doing that for a while, building it up. And then, you know, again, I was waiting to, like, be able to come back to streaming so I could at least do, like, 1 speedrun a day. Because back then, the only category that people really ran in this game was any percent, and the world record was a 129, but, like, some stuff got found and I wanted to come back. So I was trying to build it up to, like, an hour 30, an hour 40, an hour 50, you know, just so I could, like, squeeze it in, you know. Even if I had to just do 1 no reset a day and just not even, like, beat my time, it'd be, like, fine as long as I could still play the game, you know, still be happy. And, but that's what, okay, so during this entire time, I was really into watching a streamer named Simply, and he speedruns Super Mario 64, and he was having hand issues on and off, I believe, and then it turned into, yeah, carpal tunnel, and he stopped speedrunning, and then, like, he got surgery, and then it was tendonitis, and he was still having the hand pain, and he was doing, like, that's where I got the, you know, that, like, he was doing meditation, stretching, you know, the buying, I think, yeah, I think he bought ergonomic stuff, and, you know, just things like that, right? So he was, like, deep in it, too, and he was willing to try anything at that point, and a viewer recommended him the Mindbody prescription book. And now this is where it truly begins. I had heard him talking about it, and because I heard him randomly say that his, like, hands had gotten a bit better, and I was like, what, how? And I think he brought up the Mindbody prescription. I was like, I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of this. Oh, I literally just remembered something, because I remember seeing, like, looking up threads of, like, you know, like, magical ways to, like, heal your hands or whatever, and I remember seeing a thread where a guy was like, I got repetitive strain injury from petting my dog too much after bad stuff happened, and it's like, really? Like, really, dude? But yeah, like, I will get into that later, but humans, like, we just find ways to excuse, like, oh, no, it's definitely real pain because XYZ. I'll get into that later, though, but really, like, petting a dog, like, come on, dude. But, yeah, like... Yeah, the Mindbody prescription, and I was looking it up because I was desperate. And the Mindbody prescription and TMS, honestly, TMS stands for a lot of things. The only one that I can remember off the top of my head is the Mindbody Syndrome. But it basically, like, obviously, if you're this far, like, you would know, but it's actually, like, there's nothing actually physically wrong with you. It's just, you know, emotional pain and that your brain is trying to ignore, distract you from manifesting into physical danger. Your pain, your brain senses danger and translates that into pain, right? Which is ironic, because it's a survival mechanism. It thinks it's helping you. But, like, my mental state was bad, so it gives me hand pain, and then my mental state gets significantly worse because of that, and then because my mental state's worse, it makes the pain even worse. It's just, you know. So... yeah, like that... At first, I was like, there's no way that this is actually helpful, because it's like... what sense would this make? Like, surely this would be, like, a standard in the medical field if this were the case. Like, I've never even heard of this before. How could this possibly be true? But simply said it was helping him, and I was like... I was scared to pull the trigger at first, so that's, like, a big thing. I was scared of the consequences of... what if my hands get permanently even worse? You know what I mean? And even if I could get them back to the same pain level, what if it takes weeks and I'm just in even more misery? Like, at my absolute worst, like, obviously, it sounds like I'm being a crybaby. Like, when you have the benefit of hindsight, but at my literal worst moments, I was thinking, not just surgery, but, like, what if, you know, my hands got cut off or something, like, then I wouldn't feel the pain anymore, like, that kind of thing. It wasn't just in my wrist, by the way. It was in my fingers and my shoulder and my arms, but it was mostly the wrist, which is why I mostly focused on that. Oh yeah, that was another thing that one of the doctors said. She's like, oh yeah, like, you need to work on hand exercises because, like, I tried putting my hand in, like, you know, like an upward and a downward flex. And my upward flex is, like, even, I'm doing it right now, my upward flex is weak. Like, pointing your hand upwards. It's, like, not complete. It's not that straight. It's like, oh, yeah, see, look, like, you need to build muscle, you know? It's, like, again, just trying to find excuses at that point. But, yeah, good thing I live in the UK, by the way, or else, like, going to the doctor that many times, like, again, getting prescribed, like, it could have been a little... because, like, imagine if they're like, oh, you need to get surgery, and then I could just spend loads of money on it. But yeah, I finally was just like, I gotta try this out. So now this is like early December 2019, right? And I'm just like, I need to try it, right? And I was still very skeptical at first. But day one, I stopped using the timer, and I wasn't really, like, playing game. Like, I was playing games for longer than normal. And the pain wasn't getting any worse. So I was like, oh, okay. I don't know, like, at that point, again, it was like an hour 10 or something that I was supposed to be playing for. I think I played for, like, 2 hours. I don't know, like, the exact order now, but, like, on day, like, 2, I, like, stopped taking, painkillers. And then, like, day 3, I stopped doing hand exercises and stopped, like... yeah, stopped doing hand exercises, hand stretches, and I stopped using the weights. Again, I don't know the exact order, but I think this is the order they went in. Day 4, I switched back to my mouse and keyboard. My keyboard's a mechanical one, so it's actually, like, it was making my arms really numb to write, like, one sentence. Which is kind of funny looking back at it. But yeah, and then I stopped taking the CBD oil as well. And every day, it just got a little better. And by, like, a week, almost all of the pain was gone. When I realized, so, like, what is this journey other than, like... see, the reason why I was, again, taking those pills, like, using those ergonomic products is because of the hand pain. That's a problem. It's reassuring to your brain, like, yeah, like, there's something wrong with me. But I got rid of those things, and I was able to tell my brain, like, hey, look, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me, I'm fine. again, I was still skeptical, but then as it got better, I was just like, oh my god, it actually works. And then I was really, really like, I was like, yep, now I'm full force. So what some people do to like, they try and find like the exact cause that caused them to like be in this physical state. You know, for some people, there's like one extremely traumatic thing that happened and then the pain started shortly after. But for a lot of people, it's just a lot of little things that build up. And sometimes it's recommended you don't look for the exact answer because it could be like, you could be reopening wounds that don't need to be reopened, you know? But yeah, what I did was I started like writing down all like the emotional baggage, like, you know, when my friend passed away, and I just write myself a big paragraph on how it made me feel and stuff like that, and like all the expectation from school and all the bullying, and when I had this argument with this person, and like all that stuff, my speedrunning stuff, and just like all these fears and everything. Some people don't do that. It's more about just, because you don't need to. It's more about like just realizing that it is like an emotional problem regardless, and then just teaching your brain, like being calm, like, hey, look, I'm alright. But yeah, and also people like to journal as well. Yeah, or like do meditation and stuff as well, but I don't do that. But yeah, people like to journal, like just write how they feel that day and stuff like that. I didn't do that. And yeah, like almost all the pain was gone in like a week. There would be random like tics though that would kind of like flare it. Oh, before I forget, actually, do you remember the eye pain? I wasn't even trying to focus on the eye pain because it was, again, because of the 2020 thing, it was like not, comparatively not really an issue at that time. I realized like, oh my god, I have not done 2020 in like 3 hours. And I was like, hold on a minute. My eyes don't hurt right now. And then all of a sudden, they started flaring up. And that was when it hit me. Oh my god. It's my eyes too. It's not just my hands, it's my eyes. So yeah, it was my eye. It was my eyes as well. So isn't that kind of insane? Like, I wasn't even trying to like fix that, but I was having so much fun playing games with my friends. Happiness for the first time since the CBD oil, so like in months. So like the second time I was actually consistently happy in the entire year. And yeah, and that's when I realized, like, oh my god, it was the same thing. So it's, yeah, so by the end of the week, it's almost completely gone. There were some tics. I still have one particular tic to this day, which is talking about the hand pain. Can flare up specifically my right wrist. And you want to know what I mean by that, right? While I was typing all these notes out, it was flaring up, and you know what's happening literally right now? It's flaring up a bit. I want to say flaring up. On a pain scale of 1 to 10, it's literally like a 2.5. But it like, I feel like the faintest pins and needles, and just like a bit of pressure on the wrist, a little bit of discomfort, like very extremely mild, right? And again, that's exactly like, that's just, you know, proof in itself. But yeah, like then I just ignore it for like 10 minutes and it goes away. But yeah, like I because I'm talking about it right now, like it's been feeling like it for most of this video length so far. And yeah, that's basically like almost the end of that story. Well, another thing that would flare it up for some reason. If I was using a controller that I hadn't used in a while, my hands would like flare up for like an hour. I don't know why. Like if I hadn't played on my 3DS in ages, or if I hadn't like used the GameCube controller in ages, just weird things like that. Because while I was speedrunning, like I was playing on the Xbox controller, so like that's what I was used to mostly, and keyboard and mouse. Oh yeah, one of the days where I was recovering, my arms, I played for like 6 hours that day, which is like my highest to that point. My arms were so numb that I could barely move them at the end of the day. I'm not even joking. I went to bed early, like, just because of that. I was really fatigued and exhausted. I could barely... It was so numb. I could barely lift my arms, so I went to bed, woke up, and then they were fine. But yeah, it took, like, an extra week or two for it to fully, absolutely 100% go away, but, like, 90% of it was gone. It would just be, like, random small flare-ups, and also, like, if I flicked my wrist kind of hard, then it would sometimes flare up again, just, like, occasionally when I try falling asleep, but for the pain that really mattered, it was gone in, like, 6 or 7 days. For some people, their journey can take months, but luckily, even though I'm the type of person to be extremely anxious and get worked up a lot, which is why I've had TMS issues, like, 3 times, luckily, I'm also the type of person where it goes away quickly, luckily. But yeah. Also, another thing I have from the hand pain, surprisingly. Hopefully that sound did not pick up on the mic. I accidentally just flicked my mic. If I rotate my right wrist, like, not 360 degrees, obviously, but yeah, if I just rotate my right wrist, it clicks most of the time, but the left wrist never does it, and it's only been a thing ever since my tendonitis. And also, actually, I think that was it. Yeah, so now, that's basically the end of that journey. Now we can fast forward briefly to 2021, a long time. So just a lot of like community drama and stuff like that, and just a lot of some stuff in real life as well in 2020. Some really good things happened, but just some pretty not good things happened as well. And at first I was loving the pandemic, but it mentally got to me because like Wales, where I live, so you know, country in the UK, if you don't know, because you know Wales, like nobody cares about Wales. Wales's restrictions were insanely strict, especially compared to England's. We were always in lockdown for longer. And whenever we uplifted restrictions, we were always much slower in doing it, and we would, again, and then we would get back into lockdown again sooner when, like, cases would spike, and, you know. But yeah, there was just one random point in 2021. At this point, I got back into streaming. And I was streaming for 4 hours a day at this point. Like, I was using a computer more than ever because I was out of school. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I was out of school in, since, like, June 2019. And, the pain, from then on out, it got worse at first, but then it got better. And I'm just saying it's kind of ironic that, like, when you get rid of me having to go to the place 5 days a week, actually 3 days a week is the way my schedule worked, that made me absolutely miserable. And then the pain got like a little better as it went on in the months. Like, just saying, that's like kind of ironic. Oh, and another little thing as well. Like, I already brought it up, but like, you know how miserable it is to like watch anime and stuff like when it's dark orange or black and white. And while I was watching anime, I would like stretch my hands. I was like barely able to pay attention and just like I just couldn't enjoy anything. Anyway. So by 2021, there was just like a day where I woke up like I thought I woke up on the wrong side of the bed or something, and I just like had a really bad neck and shoulder pain, and obviously I was immediately like, oh my god, no. Painkillers, resting as much as possible, like etc. etc. Didn't stream. Then I finally, I say finally, like 3 days later, I was like, hold on a minute, is this TMS? And then I tried taking, you know, writing down stuff, the emotional stuff to myself again, stopped taking painkillers. It was gone in like 3 days. So, yeah. That's all for 2021. Now we get to 2023, but obviously then I gotta talk about, I got really depressed in like later in 2021 and for most of 2022, but nothing like physical happened. I came back to streaming at the end of July of 2022. And I was feeling better about it. I was feeling better about myself at that point. And yeah, I was fine until like early February 2024. So what happened was that in 2023, like in late 2023, so more stress stuff, like I started streaming for 7 hours, but then I decreased it to 6. I'm currently on okay, so I do not want to stop speedrunning this game, but I'm just gonna have to soon. No time saves have been found in ages. And you know what I did, right? We have a lot of categories you can play on the leaderboards and categories. So it's a category extension, so there's a lot of categories you can play. I grinded all of them and got really good times in all of them, like very strong good times that would take at least weeks to beat and would stand the test of time for anybody else to beat, except for if big things got found. I did that so that hopefully things could get found in that time, so I would have an excuse to keep coming back to these categories, so I would have an excuse to not stop playing the game. So it was the main category, no pause storage. It started when my run was it was still the greatest speedrun I've ever done in my life. I almost got an even better run a few weeks ago, but it died to a luck factor, which annoyed me. But yeah, there was, like, just a lot of shit, because I didn't want to stop playing the game. But that's when I realized, because while my main passion was always streaming, my secondary passion that I hardly got to experiment with was YouTube. Being a full-time YouTuber, and that sounded pretty cool. Being able to basically, yeah, it's practically an art form, content creation is. Obviously not Family Guy funny moments, but, like, you know, actual videos. And I was like, I felt like I could, maybe I was up to the task. I used to make a few videos on this game, but this game is just too niche. The videos get, like, 2,000 views. It just wasn't, like, worth it. You know, especially when, like, the game's title is so long, because, like, one thing you learn with the algorithm is that, like, you should have titles that don't exceed, like, the character limit, so that it has, like, a ... on the end of it, like, but this game's title is so long that it would always happen. My personal bests couldn't even be monetized, even if I could apply for monetization, because this game has Goofy Goober Rock, which is like, copyright claimed, every single time you upload it to YouTube. You know, it was always just, you know... What? Bro. I've been speedrunning this game for years. I never noticed that these 3 windows, if you see my screen, if you see in the cursor... Look, the 3rd window... Oh, wait, I don't think it's a visual glitch, actually. I think it's meant to be, like... Because at this point, Bikini Bottom's, like... Everyone's under mind control, so it's probably just a broken window. Okay, I thought they just had a missing texture or something. Okay, anyway, just embarrassed myself, practically. Okay, so... I'm beginning to lose my train of thought. So yeah, I wanted to, like, do YouTube, so I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do, right? I'm going to... you know, keep trying to, like, get really good times in all these categories, but in the meantime, I'm going to write a script for Plants vs. Zombies, a retrospective on Plants vs. Zombies. Because surprisingly, like, none exists that are longer than, like, 20 minutes, unless they talk about multiple Plants vs. Zombies games. But no, I just want to talk about one Plants vs. Zombies game. So during that time, I typed out the entire script, but I was getting really stressed. I'll fast forward this a bit, because I'm realizing I'm talking for forever. The thing is, right, like, I was getting really stressed out about the video because it was like 35,000 words. I recorded 6 hours worth of voice lines, like, you know, because I had to do a lot of takes and stuff. I was really unhappy with the lines, and that stressed me out. There was obviously the stress of not wanting to quit playing my game, my speed game. But then there's also this stress. And, yeah, so it was stressed with, like, I was talking so fast. Like, have you seen how fast people talk in YouTube Shorts and TikToks? I was seriously talking that fast. So you could not understand, like, anything I was saying. And the mic was peaking and popping a lot. And it made me... So I spent, like, days and days trying to even figure out if I edited half the audio, like, I cropped literally half the audio, and then I decided, like, then I sat on it for, like, a week, and then decided I'd redo the audio. So I've redone, like, That was when the video was gonna be one, like, 4-hour long thing, but now I've decided it's gonna be split into 2 parts. That part stressed me out, too, because I don't like splitting videos into parts, but, like, it was just better in, like, nearly every way to do that. So I decided that, right? And then, like... Yeah, so... I was working on the video extremely slowly when I finally started redoing, like, the lines again, and I was still unhappy with some lines. The mic would pop, so I'd have to, like, redo some lines. Just pretty unhappy with, like, how some of it went. And my procrastination, I was really angry with myself, and I just thought, like, I had to redo some lines, because I just, like, my voice is not fit for this type of content. I need to change some of my jokes, because my voice just, like, ruins them. It really was not what I had initially hoped for, I guess, in that sense. But I warmed up to it more, but I was working on the video so slowly. In, like, a month and a half, or, like, maybe a bit less than that, I had edited the first 20 minutes of the video. Sometimes I would genuinely I would edit, like, 20 seconds of the video and then just watch anime for, like, an hour. Like, no, like, I shouldn't do that, right? So, I finally gave myself a kick up the ass. It gave me more stress, but also less at the same time. I did the math. My productivity went up by 8 times because I was working so much faster. In less than half the time, or even like a third of the time, I had extended the video's length from 20 minutes to over an hour. Like, it was crazy. And I was really happy with that. But I would spend, like, most of my free time on it. If I wasn't streaming, I was working on the video, except for, like, twice a week where I'd be playing, like, games for, like, with my friends for, like, an hour or two. But yeah, on days where I wasn't streaming, it was just all editing. And again, I had to just redo, like, a lot of lines. And and then that's when this thing started happening with my throat, right? Because the way that I record my lines, I talk kind of loud into the microphone. If I talk too like, calmly, like, the jokes just weren't landing. So I had to, like, talk a bit loud, but then the mic would pop, so then I had to have the mic a bit further away from me. But then it would exhaust me. So after these, like, 40, 50-minute long sessions, I started taking, like, my 2 days off in a row for streaming. Like, I started taking them off in a row to, like, try and fix the problem, right? And then one day, my throat still hurts, so I took an extra day off after that, and then it was fine. And I was like, oh, good. But then, you know what I started doing? Not only to work on the video more, but also so that I could record, because I was working faster, which meant I had to record my lines faster. I started, like, streaming for 4 days a week instead of 5 to, like, so that I could have a day to rest my voice. And then so basically, then I recorded some lines, and I tried a slightly different tone, and I hated it. And I was like, no, dude, I wasted a day. I can't believe this. So then, the next week, I streamed for 3 days instead of 4, so I could, like, recover my voice and then take another 2 days off, and then, you know, really putting emphasis on, like, talking a lot equals, like, resting my throat, right? And as I'm talking about this, my throat's flaring up a tiny bit. So I got to the point. So I streamed for 3 days that week. And then, I recorded my final lines. And this session, instead of being, like, 50 minutes long like it normally was, it was, like, 65. Right? Because I tried to, like, redo everything I did. And I even did a few more paragraphs. I try to, like, because I basically just, like, had wasted a couple days of my mind, which was stressing me out to, like, oh, I could have, like, the day, like, I effectively took a day off when I shouldn't have. I need to get this video out. My thought process was, like, work hard until I could, like, monetize myself and, like, hire an editor, and then it could be more chill, but I had to, like, work hard until then. So I was working pretty hard on the video every day. And, yeah, I try to compensate And then I waited. I didn't talk the rest of the day. I didn't talk at all the day after. Day after that, stream time. Except no, because my throat hurt the entire time, right? So then I took like 3 days off, and then I streamed again, and my throat hurt like just as bad. Extremely hard to talk the entire time, coughing. A lot of taking strepsils, if you know what those are, like throat sweets almost. Like just like kind of like numb your throat a bit. They low-key kind of taste nice, but I'm not gonna take them for no reason. And we started taking painkillers a little bit. Well, yeah, well, I only took a couple, but you're drinking a lot of water. So I only streamed twice that week, and since then I've had throat problems. I rested for like a week, and it was not better. So I went to, I started gargling salt water. I was like not eating spicy food. I was like not eating harsh foods. It didn't hurt to breathe or anything, but it like talking was what would set it off. So I saw a doctor. I was so desperate. I was like, all right, what if it's like a bacterial infection? I should like take antibiotics that aren't even prescribed to me. That's how desperate I was. But no, I didn't do that. I went to see a doctor, and he just said it was laryngitis. And that's another thing as well. We really latch on to these like medical terms like tendonitis and, laryngitis, carpal tunnel, So I was not thrilled by that because I was hoping it'd be a bacterial infection so I could take antibiotics and fix the issue in like 3 days, but he's just like, oh, just rest it for like a week. I rested it for 10 days, and my throat did not feel any better. Again, it felt completely fine if I didn't talk, but yeah. It literally... It didn't get any better. And the only good thing that came out of it was that I was able to play Persona 3. I was able to play Persona 3 so little while I was streaming and working on the video. Like 45 minutes a day or something. I went from having 6 hours in the game to over 80, and then I completed it, and I've also been replaying Persona 5. And playing Pokemon Gold. No, Silver. I think Hot Gold and Soul Silver are objectively better in like every conceivable way, but like I don't know, I just was in the mood to play Silver, and I've actually been quite enjoying it. But yeah, like that's, yeah. And again, I was painkillers, salt water, etc., etc. And then I would like talk to friends for like an hour, and then I'd suffer the consequences the next day, or sometimes it wasn't that bad, and I was like, oh, it's getting better, yay, I should try talking more often, and then nope, brain was like, nope, that's pain. So I finally decided a few days ago, it's gotta be TMS. And this is another thing I'll get into later, but it's more about like being logical about the situation, right? Like, let's be logical for a sec, right? With this particular thing. I talked loud for 65 minutes, and now 2 weeks later, I still have throat pain. Despite painkillers, despite, resting for most of that time. Like, what sense does it make? And I watch, like, TikToks and stuff where, like, the whole meme is, like, people, like, practically screaming because, like, they're doing impressions of their parents or, like, a teacher or something. It's like, why do they not have throat pain and I do, It's like... And again, the stresses at the time were not being... I mean, speedrunning is stressful, but, like, and it's related to streaming because I stream all my attempts, and I'm talking the whole time. So that was... And the worry of not being able to play the game. Because I gave myself, like, a deadline as well. The Plants vs. Zombies video, in my mind, had to be out by March 20th. I don't know why I gave myself that deadline. And I needed to, like... Because the last category that I have yet to, like, finish off in this game is 100%, which is the gameplay seeing now. So I was like... I gotta be done with speedrunning before the video comes out. So that was, like, another stress. But yeah, both of my stresses related to streaming, aka talking, and making the video, aka talking. So... One night, I was like... Screw it, dude. I'm gonna record a video for the second channel. And I'm gonna like it. And that's what I did. So you know what I did? I recorded an, well... Just add some water. Originally, I talked about my, like, anime that I've watched and stuff, just talking about the anime that I've seen for 3.5 hours months ago. I did a follow-up because I've watched some more stuff since then, so my follow-up video was just barely over an hour. My throat was killing me the whole time. And you know what happened the next day? So at this point, I've already concluded it was TMS. You know what happened the next day, right? Not only was my throat sore, throbbing headache, really bad neck and shoulder pain. And at that point, it was really obviously TMS. Like, I was fairly confident before, but now I was the most confident I had been. It would, like, at that, for the throat thing. Like, all of a sudden, I decide that, like, it's TMS, and then all of a sudden I get a throbbing headache, and my neck and shoulder hurt when I haven't done anything to hurt them. Like, absolutely not. No chance, right? So, a couple days later, I decided I was coming back to streaming because, Dr. Sano was the one who wrote the Mindbody prescription book. He did a lot of research in, like, the 80s and 90s, I think. One of his things was, like, resuming normal activity. You can't truly heal unless you resume doing what you love doing in the first place. Like, how would I be able to fix my throat pain if I was still not streaming? Because the only reason I'd be not streaming is because of the throat pain, right? And I didn't have much talking that I could do outside of streaming anyway, so it's just a good way to, you know. So, first stream back. Throat was absolutely fucking killing me. Oh my god, I saw her again. Sorry about that. And, 40 minutes in, like, I was beginning coughing and stuff, but I was trying not to, like, have a drink just to soothe my throat, you know, because then it'd be reinforcing it to my brain at that point. I was trying not to, and it was really distracting, pretty painful, but there were moments where it just randomly got better. But that's the problem with chronic pain, right? When it starts to get a little better, you're like, oh, it's a bit better. And then because you're focusing on it, then it gets worse immediately again. Like, that kept happening. So day 1 was pretty painful. But I did a 4-hour stream instead of 6 hours. Because, like, when it comes to resuming normal activity, it's generally recommended that you, like, ease into it. Not super slowly, but also not, like, super fast. So I did a 4-hour stream, and then I played a game with a friend for, like, an hour and a half. But that's not the same thing as streaming, because streaming, I'm talking more consistently. There are times in the game where you just don't talk for, like, a minute, and, like, oh, yeah, like, your friend's talking, just listening to them, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like, so at this point, like... Oh, and when I was off the clock, when I wasn't streaming... And my brain was trying to distract me in other ways. Pain in my shoulder and neck. No more headache, but yeah, pain in my shoulder and neck. Day 2, the pain was, like, almost identical. It was, like, a little bit... Like, it was more like the aftermath this time was a little better, because I just kept reinforcing to my brain that it was fine. I still had, like, a tiny, tiny little bit of doubt. And now this is where I'm going to shout out a channel called Pain For You. This guy, Dan... a lot of people just call him Dan. He he's recovered his chronic pain since 13 years ago, and he makes videos like I don't know, like 5 videos a week or something like that, just him talking for like 15 minutes or something, talking about all these like issues, like, and he'll just bring up topics like, what if my pain gets worse? Like, how do I really know it's TMS? How, you know, and then he also covers like success stories from people and stuff like that, which inspired me to do this. And I commented on one of his videos, and the video, it was like, oh, what if it gets, you know, I try to live my life and it got worse. Because, yeah, like, I did try to live my life, and then the next day I had a throbbing headache and stuff. I had, like, 5% doubt. So I commented on Dan's video, and I was like, hey, Dan, you know, blah, 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 blah. I just gave my whole life story. And I'm going to be paraphrasing a bit, but also he has, like, a self-assessment test for TMS. You could probably type it in, like, TMS self-assessment or something like that. It should be, like, painforyou.com or something like that. I scored 33 out of 50, which is an indication that not only is it TMS, but you can also completely get rid of the pain. So, yeah, but I still said to him, and he said, the idea that talking would hurt your, talking loud or talking for long periods of time would hurt your throat is because we just, yeah, it's the mindset that it should for whatever reason. There's nothing dangerous about talking. And he said, drop the fear, and the pain will leave. And that was when my 95% confidence, or maybe like 92% confidence, like, went to 100%. It went to 100%. And now we're all good. Almost. Like, I'm still a few days into the journey. That was only a couple days ago. So I did my 3rd stream yesterday. And my throat hurts the least that it's hurt the entire time. Other than when I didn't talk for like 10 days, but, you know. So yeah, again, like, I still, a bit distracting, still hurts a little bit, still, like, you know, I'll decrease the speed to, like, 1.2, I'm worried that the ROM will end before I'm done with this video. So yeah, like, I'm in the recovery process right now, but I wanted to record this now because if I did it after stream, like, it'd be nighttime and I'd have to talk quieter and not be able to fully express myself. You know, I wanted to be able to talk at a normal volume, you know? And I took today off because I've been feeling a bit of fatigue from the game. But yeah, I'm during recovery right now, and pretty much only off-stream, I get quite a lot of shoulder and neck discomfort. Less pain now and more discomfort. But I know it's TMS, and it'll go away. Because it's appearing less and less. I can talk for longer and longer without my throat, even if I feel a little something going on, a little bit of raspiness, not just near coughing or, you know, stuff like that. Thinking about it a little less. So yeah, I'm on like day 4 or something, or 5. And yeah, it's going pretty well. And I even did a 5-hour stream last time, yesterday, instead of a 4-hour stream. And I think tomorrow when I stream, I'll do at least 5. Cause I might go back to the full 6. But yeah. Bit of raspiness, but again, like, it's like, it's the best it's been in, like, 2 weeks or something, or a week and a half. And I'm actually happy this time. Because I actually get to, like, do something I love. So I haven't, like, started recording voice lines again. Like, I'm still easing into it, so I'm just getting on with this for now. So yeah, that's pretty much where my story ends. I guess like it's like a to be continued at the moment, but I just wanted to make this video now. And again, like, I'm in the middle of recovery. I'm happier than I've been. And now I just want to go over 9 bonus things I wrote down regarding TMS. Right? Number 1, your life doesn't have to suck for you to have TMS. This is, like, I'll get a little more into this, but, like, when I've told people my story, they're always like, oh, well, I know my issues aren't from emotional pain because my life is fine. Let's be real, right? Like, as much as we complain, like, living in a first world country is, like, almost, like, it's kind of lucky in the first place, like, a privilege, and, like, yeah, you know, like, I've never been, like, physically, like, harmed. Like, my parents never divorced or anything. Well, they're not married, but yeah, they never, like, separated or anything. Like, while I am unemployed, like, like, I'm just happy being able to do, because, like, I kind of am privileged at the moment to, like, for probably the next, like, few years, I'll probably be able to get away with, like, not having a job, and that's why I'm taking that opportunity to, like, do YouTube while I still have the chance, while it's, like, work isn't consuming, you know, I want to, like, follow my passions, basically, and I actually have the opportunity to do that. But yeah, so my life is, I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of petty arguments with parents, and just, like, some things that happened, but, like, overall, my life is not, like, except for the physical pain stuff, my life has not been bad. And yet it still happened to me. There is such a thing as an oversensitive brain. And my brain, I have this thing where, like, if a bad thing happens, right? Let's say a bad thing happens. for the average person, if that thing is a 5 out of 10 on, like, the sucking scale, like how bad it sucks, for me, it's not a 5, it's like a 7. I always, like, am really, like, why does it have to be me type of thing? Why is it always me? Life is unfair, etc., etc. Hopefully that's not linked to, like, being mentally insane or something. Yeah. Hopefully not. Anyway. Yeah, that's the issue that, that I have. So, just when things happen to me, like, it always feels worse for me than it really should. Because whenever I complain about something, people are always very quick to be, like, contrarian. Well, like, to dismiss the idea of, like, oh, it's not a big deal, like, you know. And I think it's because a lot of people have other, like, worse things going on, but I just express myself more. I mean, it's a good thing to not bottle stuff up, but yeah, I do seem to generally be more sensitive to bad things happening than the average person. Which, again, hopefully does not link me to being a psychopath or something. Yeah, so... like, this... well, yeah, I mean, I basically said everything in regards to that. Your life doesn't have to suck for you to have... it could just be an oversensitive brain. Number 2, stop looking for excuses for your chronic pain. Again, tendinitis at the age of 17, and I tried blaming it on things like not sleeping for long enough. Like, are you for real? And, like, again, people will tell me, like, oh, well, my dad, he's always like, because, you know, he's stuck in his ways, he won't listen. Like, oh, I got hand pain, I got carpal tunnel from lifting heavy objects at work. We've been evolving for millions of years. It would have recovered by now. You know what I mean? Like, or it's like, oh, I game too much. Bro, I'm a degenerate. Like, I don't work. Like, I game for, like, not like a job because I hardly get paid for it, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I use my hands all the time. Like, this duration of time that I've been recording for, where I haven't had to use my hands, really. Like, this is gonna be the longest time all day where I don't use my hands easily by a mile. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Or it's like I had an injury and it never, like, fully recovered, and it's like, the body knows how to heal itself. Like, it would have recovered by now. So yeah, that's number 2. Number 3 is just trust the system of TMS. I talked to someone before, and they just straight up said to me, I am the type of person where, like, I'm paraphrasing what they're saying. They were like, if something were physically wrong with me, because of I know what I'm like, I would not be able to conclude that it's, like, emotional. And I genuinely cannot wrap my head around that. If you even trust the system for even a few days, you'll likely get some better results for, like, a week or something. A lot of people do. Like, it just... I don't get why you wouldn't even try it. Like, me having these issues cost me money. Again, the hand brace, the ergonomic stuff, like... And my parents were paying for the CBD oil anyway, but I was burning through it faster for them. Like, healing my hands was free. And my throat, it was all free. But when I try repairing it through other means, some people do it via surgery. And, you know, a lot of people live in America or, like, other countries where there's not free healthcare. And what do you know? It's like... you know, it doesn't fix their problems, and it's spending money when they could literally try it for free for a week. And also, if you have doubts, it'll... again, I had some doubts in my hand pain, but it still started going... I feel like there was, like, the logical side of me that was still able to figure out, like, hey, look, like, this is the real deal. So that, which is what... but for some people, you need to be fully 100% dedicated to it for it to stop, like, being an issue. If there's always a little bit of doubt, it'll always manifest in some way, shape, or form. And that's the thing, like... it can easily manifest. and or again, just like if you just have any doubt, it could easily just screw you over. So you gotta trust the system. Believe in it for even a few days, and there's a very realistic chance that your issues could get a little better. And as soon as they're a little better, like, you already know it works at that point, so you can literally just, you know, go back to living a happy life at that point, because you'll feel better, and then you know for a fact, if it's already getting better, like, oh, it's definitely TMS. Like, but you still should be as dedicated as you can to the idea. Alright, number 4. If things get worse, reassure yourself. Again, same thing when, like, my hands, like, or my arms, like, got numb, or, like, when my throat got worse after an hour of talking, like, with the headache and stuff. Reassure yourself. The reason why that's happening is because your brain is not... You stop doing these activities, so when you when you resume them, the pain perceives it as danger. So it's like, oh, you talked for an hour? No, no, no. No, you did not. Pain. But then I was like, no, it's fine. It's all good. And that's what you gotta do. Number 5, look at it logically. I already said, basically, but yeah. 17 hand pain? No. Absolutely no chance. And again, like, with the throat pain, like, I talked loud for an hour, like, come on. And I waited weeks. Even if I had to rest it for, like, a few days, like, would have made sense, like, to the average person, but, like, weeks, really? No. And again, like, my dad was like, it would have healed by then. Again, yeah, I've already basically went over it. 6, how you respond to the pain is what matters. I already like, that's basically the same thing as trust the system. But yeah, like, don't just try to, like, distract yourself from the pain. Just be like, I'm gonna smile through it, I'm gonna have a good time regardless. Like, your foot hurts, just go for a walk anyway. Not if your bone's, like, literally broken, but, you know, just, like, yeah. I got a lump in my foot, I can't walk, it's like, let's go for a walk. And if there's pain, you just go, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna enjoy my walk. I barely leave the house, but, you know, nature's good for your brain. In my case, yeah, it was just, yeah, I'm good. I was especially able to reassure myself, because like, on day 2 of streaming again, in a row, like, my throat only felt a little better, but didn't feel worse, and that kind of just proved it in its own right. You know, just be like, yeah, how you're, like, but being, yeah, don't just try to, like, ignore it, like, you should primarily be like, oh yeah, like, I know what you're doing, brain, but we're all good, and then have a good time despite this. And then the brain will learn. 7, some recovery takes days and months for others. Basically, already went over that. It just depends on the type of person that you are and how much you believe the system, or, like, how bad your symptoms are sometimes. Some people, like, literally can't get out of bed, so it's like, you know. Number 8, you don't have to find the cause or even journal, because I wasn't journaling, but I was trying to find the cause. You don't have to find the specific cause. Again, you can even just, as long as you admit that it's, like, TMS, and approach it in, like, a healthy way, like, you should be fine, but for some people, it helps them to, like, think of, like, a connection, but in my opinion, the best way of doing that is, like, a list of things that you wouldn't mind, like, that not things that you already mentally, like, went over a lot at the time. Like, not something that you already got, like, emotional clarity on, like, years ago, but, I mean, something that you ignored from your past that manifested potentially, you know, just think, you know. Although, you really, like, don't have to. Alright, finally, number 9. Oh, wait, no. That's just a bonus point for me. Complain about others not listening. Yeah, I've tried telling people, and they just don't listen. Like, remember that tendonitis girl I told you about? I talked to her in, like, 2021 or 2020, and I was like, you know, how you doing? Like, how's your hand pain? And you know what she said? She said, it's still there, but it's decently better compared to before. And you know what's funny about that? Her life is also better in general, and she didn't do anything, no surgeries, like, no hand stretches. She didn't do anything physically to improve the pain. all of her improvements were mental. Isn't that crazy how that works? It's almost like there's a connection. But yeah, I told her about TMS, and she just responded as if I was, like, actually a maniac. And, like, she's a smart girl, like, you know, getting, like, A's in all her classes and stuff, but, like, she was just not listening. So I just didn't really bother after that. For Christmas, I bought my dad, like, the Mindbody prescription book. Also, you don't have to, like, read the book, by the way. I didn't read the book. If you want to, like, yeah, just look up, like, success stories and stuff like that, you know? That helps the most, in my opinion, and pain-free use videos. Yeah, so how... Because, because, I mean, she, like, opened up to me about some stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, just a lot of stuff, and I'm like, damn, she did not have a very good childhood. And then, all of a sudden, like, she's in university, like, no longer, like, in a toxic relationship. She's in a better relationship. She's really happy with it, and her life's just on track. So, again, it's all just mental, and her campaign's better. It's like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I got my dad the book. Didn't read it. And again, I would talk about it on stream, and people would just straight up say, like, oh, it's not, I know it's not me, because it's just from playing games too much, and my life is fine. But I already went over those things. So... it's just, like, a little frustrating. Like, again, I know what it's like to be in fear. I've done it many times. Because I'm, like, a weird case where it's like... I mean, some people experience this, too. For some people, they get rid of all their pains, and then whenever pain comes up in the future, they're just like, oh, TMS. But for some reason, there have been 3 times where I've convinced myself that, like... it's a physical issue. Well, the first time made sense, but, like... because I hadn't heard about TMS, but, like, the other 2 times just didn't make sense why I concluded that wasn't the case. At first. I said in my server, like, I'm pretty sure it's not TMS. Like, I literally said that before I realized it was TMS. But yeah, like, I literally was just like... even I won't listen to myself sometimes. So it might sound like I'm yelling at you, the viewer, but it's more just, like, a little bit of frustration on myself, really. Because I had the benefit of hindsight. I know it feels so real. I'm not talking about, you know, stabbing yourself or something. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder that hurts. But no, I'm talking, like... you know one thing that's happened to me, like, months ago? On vacation, I, like, twisted my foot. And I can still feel pressure in my foot to this day. But when I'm not thinking about it, well, I can still walk for hours and hours and hours with literally no issues. It just feels a bit uncomfortable to cross my legs sometimes, or, like, my dog or whatever stands on my foot. Or, like, something like that. Like, just feel a bit of discomfort, but most of the time I don't think about it, and you're just like, not. I'm sure it's TMS. It's just, you know, that hasn't been a focus because it, like, never hurts. And if it did hurt, then I'd instantly know it's TMS because I already, like, got way past the point where it would have stopped hurting in the first place. But yeah, I think that's basically it. If you feel like you have some physical issue now, or if it happens in the future, like, especially if you pass, like, a 1 to 2 week recovery point where, like, a lot of things would have healed by then, it does not hurt to just try and, like, you know, this TMS approach, essentially. And don't give up after 1 day. Of course, your body could very easily flare up after 1 day because your body's not used to it. You know, and even if you were in pain, wouldn't you be happy that you're finally able to do what you've been wanting to do? That's basically all I can say. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around. That was a cringe outro. I've been watching too many Let's Plays. Anyway, goodbye.